The final pay-per-view of the year is in the books. After an eventful and monumental year of pay-per-views with ups and downs and crazy upsets and amazing fights, the last pay-per-view of 2023 was a card stacked from top to bottom. Headlined with a welterweight title bout between Leon Edwards and Colby Covington, and a flyweight title bout between Alexander Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. With up-and-coming superstars and future title contenders and a former champion on the card, UFC 296 had a lot of hype. But could it live up to this hype? This is the Fight franchise and the recap and review of UFC 296. The early prelims started with a heavyweight bout between Martin Bunday versus Shamil Gaziev, where Gaziev had a dominant first round and followed this in the second round, where Gaziev continued his dominance, where he overwhelmed Bunday and secured the amazing TKO to remain undefeated, and a fun way and performance to start the card. The next fight was a featherweight bout between Lucas Almeida and Andre Fili, where they went back and forth in a competitive fight, trading, where Fili dropped Almeida and finished him on the ground with ground and pound to secure the brilliant win. Cody Durden took on Tagir Ulanbekov, where they fought in a competitive bout, which was back and forth with striking and grappling, where Ulanbekov just seemed to be the more threatening of the two, almost securing the submission on multiple occasions. The second round, Ulanbekov's persistence with submissions paid off, securing the rear naked choke for the win, which brought the end to some brilliant early prelim action. The prelims began with a fun women's bout between Ariana Lipski and Casey O'Neill, where Lipski was the more dangerous in the fight, where she managed to be brilliant and drop O'Neill and secured the submission win and keep the finishing streak of the pay-per-view going. The next fight saw former bantamweight champion Cody Garbrandt taking on Brian Kelleher, where both men were trading on the feet, where Garbrandt was just the faster and the more crisp of the two. Garbrandt landed a brilliant combination of punches and eventually landed a vicious right hand to face plant Kelleher and secure the amazing win. Garbrandt called out Davidson Figueiredo after the fight, which would be an amazing bout for UFC 300. The next fight, Irina Aldana took on Cara Rosa, where they had one of the best fights of the year, where Rosa was smashing Aldana's legs with leg kicks due to her having such a boxing heavy stance. Over 3 rounds, both women went to war and put on the fight of the night, never backing down, where Rosa won the first round and it seemed Aldana won the second and the third round to win the decision. This ended the finishing streak of the card, but it didn't matter. It was a war from start to finish, where both women battered each other for 15 minutes. I would love to see this fight again down the line, especially if it was 5 rounds. The final fight of the prelims saw Alonzo Menefield taking on Dustin Jacoby, which was a competitive bout fought on the feet, where Menefield seemed to have too much power for Jacoby to handle in some of the key exchanges. This was a tough act to follow compared to the last fight, but was a super fun and competitive bout in which Menefield won the decision. This brought the end to the early prelims and prelims, which was some of the best we've had all year. The main card started with a short notice put together bout, with Josh Emmett taking on short notice Bryce Mitchell. This fight was done in the first round, where Emmett landed one of the KOs of the year, where Josh Emmett landed a huge right hand which slept Mitchell, whose unconscious body was shaking like crazy in the octagon. This was a brutal watch, but was an amazing way to start the main card. The next fight saw the legendary Tony Ferguson taking on Paddy Pimblett, in a fight many wanted Ferguson to win, but everyone deep down knew his chances were slim. Pimblett was the faster and the better on the feet, with the much more tighter striking, while Ferguson was just too slow. And when it came to the wrestling, Pimblett was just too strong. This led to 2 dominant rounds for Pimblett, but in the third round he was visibly fatigued. Many thought this was Ferguson's chance to exploit Pimblett, but the fight went to the ground, where Pimblett dominated and would win on all of the judges' cards. It's going to be interesting to see what's next for Paddy, and I think it's time for Tony to hang up the gloves. If not, give him Jim Miller at UFC 300 as his last fight. Shavkat Rakhmonov took on Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in a huge test to see if Shavkat was ready for the upper echelon of the division. The first round was nothing what we expected, with Shavkat spending most of the round clinching Wonderboy, failing to get a takedown, where Shavkat won quite a lackluster round. The second round was more of the same, where Shavkat eventually got the takedown, where he was looking for the choke, where with 10 seconds left in the round, Shavkat secured the choke and would win the fight and stay undefeated and keep his finishing streak going. I can't wait to see Shavkat fight for the belt, as we need fresh matchups for the title. As for Wonderboy, I would love to see him paired up with Michael Venom Page, who was just signed with the UFC. The co-main event saw Alexandra Pantoja taking on Brandon Royval in a rematch from their fight from a few years ago. Pantoja showed over 5 rounds he was just a level above Royval, where he dominated with his takedowns and the grappling, and at times threatened with the submission, looking to get Royval out of there, who defended the positions well. The 5th round, Pantoja was visibly fatigued, where Royval did try and turn his fortunes around, where he needed a finish, but Pantoja stayed strong and secured the unanimous decision win. Let's hope Pantoja is active next year and can give us some fun flyweight title bouts throughout 2024. The main event saw Leon Edwards defending his welterweight title against Colby Covington on the final bout of the UFC calendar year. After a heated press conference with Colby talking trash about Leon's deceased father, this bout became very very personal. The fight was unfortunately quite boring and lackluster, with Colby having a strange approach in the first 3 rounds, not using his pressure or grappling, instead choosing to stand at range with Leon, who was picking him apart with leg kicks and punches, and had a measured approach in the fight. The 4th round saw some grappling, with Leon getting back up from a takedown and deciding to take Colby down and show he can wrestle and take down an American wrestler, and one of the better ones in the welterweight division. The last round had grappling, with Leon trying to secure submissions and failing to do so, where Colby spent the round on top, smothering Leon till the final horn. The fight was an easy unanimous decision for Leon, who won and retained his title, who should have a quick turnaround against Bilal Muhammad. As for Colby, I have no clue what that performance was, and let's hope he gets his act together and compete more in 2024. That brought the end of a good card. At one point this was tracking as one of the best cards of the year, with how good the prelims were, but after some lackluster main card fights and quite a boring slow paced main event, brings this fight card a bit lower. It did have some amazing finishes, especially Josh Emmett's KO, and one of the fights of the year from Irina Aldana and Cara Rosa. For that reason, this card gets a C+. A good card to end the year. It's just a shame it was a lackluster finish to the final fight of the year and the main event. 14 pay-per-views the UFC gave us, and some amazing entertainment. Expect very soon the recap of all 14 pay-per-views, where we will count down the best of the best in the pay-per-view year. Let's hope 2024 is even better than this year, as 3 pay-per-views are being made and confirmed, with a huge Miami card, and right around the corner is the monumental UFC 300. Did you enjoy the video? Let us know down in the comments below. What would you grade UFC 296 as a pay-per-view? Put it down in the comments below. And what did you think of the main event? Did you think it was one of the worst main events of the year? Put that down in the comments below. Leave a like if you've enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more MMA and fight content coming soon. We're going to have our big pay-per-view review at the end of the year, where we're going to rank all the pay-per-views, and we're going to have more stuff recapping 2023. So please subscribe so you can check that stuff out when it comes out very shortly. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you in the next one.